Hey everyone, have I here, Bruno, video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. In this video, it is time for another edition of Best Teams on Global. This is the December year end for 2023. So with that, if you're new to my channel, like, subscribe, comment below, do all that good stuff. Let's go ahead and dive right in. And before we dive into that, of course, let me describe how I build my teams. And the disclaimer of best teams is my opinion and purely subjective. There's no official tier list or best teams ranking from Akatsuki or Bandai. And again, how I build my teams, I look at a multitude of different things: leader skill, damage, defensive output, special skills, bench strength and flexibility is very important to me, game mode effectiveness for various game modes, not just end game, and then just overall gameplay. Now, how I build my teams, I look at the first position generally more defensively, but of course I want that unit to also still have some ability for damage output. And then you're looking at the second main rotation unit there. You want to focus a little bit more on damage. Of course, defense is important everywhere else. You got the flex units, and I do show a support. You don't have to run a support. I tell people this all the time. You don't have to run a support unit, but if you do choose to run a support unit, you can, of course, use the ones that I show in that final spot there. Now, when it comes to game mode effectiveness, I look at a multitude of different game modes, not just red zone or end game, which I think a lot of people just focus on. Now, there is one game mode here that people get a little bit confused on when it comes to global versus JP, and that is Omega Shenron. Omega Shenron is not yet on global. I was hoping that we would find it in 2023, but it looks like 2024 is when Omega is going to be dropping. So there are typical teams that would run better on this game mode, that would maybe be ranked a little bit higher. But unfortunately, that is not out on global yet. I still do look at Extreme Super Battle Road and Super Battle Road. I think teams that can do a multitude of different Extreme Super Battle Roads and Super Battle Roads is still very, very valuable. So giving them a little bit extra points when it comes to my rankings. And then, of course, the rest of the game modes, as you can see here. Now, let's go ahead and look at the last month's best teams, which was a little bit shortened. But here's the thing, not that much change, right? I did add Limit Breaker Vegito's team and the Dragon Ball Heroes team in the 8th spot, so it did drop one team out of the top 10. And really, when you take a look at these teams here, they've been pretty solidified for a few months now, and we'll see by the end of the video here if anything really has changed. But I am going to go over a lot of honorable mentions, teams that possibly deserve a top 10 spot, but for me, I just left them out. They're very close, right? All these teams, I could say, has some level of ability to argue that, hey, this should be a top 10 team. Let's go ahead and start with Turtle School. I think Turtle School is an amazing team. You can kind of see the different formations here. It's basically a Goku team, right? You're running it at all 200%. You have top tier units like LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku, Kai Goku. You can run 2 of those on there, World Tournament Goku. So you have all these different Gokus that you can run. I think bench strength is a little bit weak, but I think generally speaking here, some people might think of it as a top 10 team. It's in the top 15 for me, maybe even the top 20, but I think it's a strong team. Now, I do have an honorable mention for Movie Heroes because of the new Carnival Super Saiyans that came out. I did put them as a 170% run unit on this team here, but you can kind of see how this is built. This is a very strong team. You can again argue Movie Heroes, especially if I merge all the other leaders together, is a top 10 team. I was very close to put them back into the top 10, but I think as of right now, I am kind of leaving them off for now, right? So, but they're very close. Just like the other 2 teams that I'm going to talk about, I went back and forth on saying, is this knocking out my number 10 spot or even knocking out my number 9 spot and dropping down? Yeah, I really, the 9 and 10 spot for my list is the toughest spots here. So the second to last honorable mention that we're going to talk about is Battle of Wits. I think this is a very overlooked team. This did get a semi upgrade, especially if you don't have one of these units available for you, because you can run Android 21. You can actually run Android 21 and Evil Android 21 as a rotation if you wanted to do that. that. However, of course, LR Goku does only buff superclass units, so there is that you have to deal with. But hey, you know what? The AGL Dokkan Festival exclusive Android 21 is a superclass, so you can go ahead and put her on the spot here. So I think this is a very, very good team, and I was gonna put this team back into the top 10. And it's still argued that you can, but I think LR Goku, with having 2 of those, you have to build that unit up. So there's a little hole there that could be problematic for endgame stuff, right? So let's go ahead and move now on to the second to last team that is an honorable mention. I would say a lot of other people would probably put this in the top 10. Unfortunately, me, I have him like kind of number 11, just like right off the spot here, and that's going to be the LR Full Power Super Saiyan 4 team, the GT Heroes in full power. I think this needed one more category to make the bench strength better. If this had grade 8 power, right? If this had grade 8 power on here, boy, we could have done some really, really cool stuff, and would have been, I think, a much more powerful team, and then more diverse team when it comes to flexibility and bench strength. I think with bench strength here, it's not all that strong, right? GT hero units generally, like, these EA Goku, Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta, and then the GT ones on there, it's not overly strong. Now, you do have some other strong characters that you can run, like LROP, that you can run on this team, but here's the thing, he's at 170 versus 200%, and you're gonna have to bring in a different Gohan on that team to also activate his passive, because you do need a bond of master and disciple on the team somewhere, and none of the top tier units you can see here does that. Now, there is a very unique team. This is something that you can definitely just mess around with. There is a way to run a very kind of built in here Limit Breaker Vegito team. Now, you generally wouldn't do this, because if you have Limit Breaker Vegito, you will run the Dragon Ball Heroes team, but you can run this with 2 Gokus on here, and then the floaters all be crossover units, so that way this actually can work out. So anyway, you can run something like this. You could bring another one of these, because this one here needs crossover or grade 8 power on the team, so something like that you can also run. So I don't know, I thought this was kind of interesting, kind of fun, so I figured I'd just go ahead and show this as an honorable mention. But this did come close. I think this is a very strong team, just like Battle Wits. I think both of these could deserve a spot in the top 10. But let's go ahead and transition into the top 10 here and talk about these on here. So coming in at number 10 is a brand new team on here, and that is going to be the Super Saiyans team with the Carnival Super Saiyans. I think this team, standalone wise, is one of the stronger teams out there. However, it does lack bench strength. That's why it is only in the number 10 spot. If it had more units that you can run when it comes to flexibility and those types of things, I think it could be easily 7, 6, somewhere around there. But as you can see down below in the alts, you don't really have too many options in that Super Saiyans category that could really, really be a top spot on here. As you can see, you have Godku on here. You have the future Gohan. That unit is killer, but the Carnival Super Saiyan in of itself is widely strong, so strong you can just wipe out really any enemy. It's pretty amazing unit, definitely a top 10 LR in the game. So I have them in the 10 spot, so I think this is a fair spot for them. Maybe recency bias for me, but I think I have them at number 10. I think it's better than the 2 honorable mentions I talked about here with Battle Wits and then GT Heroes on there. So coming in number 10 is the Super Saiyans with Carnival Super Saiyans. Coming in number 9, I still have these guys here. I might be the only one that runs this team, and that's Bond of Master and Disciple. I still think this team is still top tier. I think a lot of people are low when it comes to the Gohan, right? But Gohan runs extremely well on this team. and having everybody as Bond Master Disciple, you can run a very efficient team here, and it does well. So I've never had really any problems with this. You can run kind of a weird combination also with like the EZA Beerus, which is a top tier EZA. And you can have a lot of different options on here. So I think this is a team that is, I think, a little bit underrated, but maybe overrated on my end, because they are in the top 10. Still kicking here in the number 9 spot is the Bond of Master and Disciple at 200%. Let's go ahead and move on to the number 8 spot. Again, this is not different from what we saw before, and that is Limit Breaker Vegito, right? So Limit Breaker Full Power Vegito here, Super Saiyan 4 Full Power Vegito, is standalone an incredible unit. This team is an incredible team, but the flexibility isn't as strong as I would say some of these other teams have. And also it can run some super battle roads, but ultimately you do have a lot of limitations, right? You can't run this really team outside of Dragon Ball Heroes, and there's not other units that you're generally going to run either. So I think it's a top tier standalone team, but I think overall I just have them in the 8th spot right here. All right, now I am going to warn you guys from here on out. There's really not much changes from here on out in the rankings. All right, just want to just admit this to you guys, for those who are watching at the 11.5 mark here, because everything else is pretty much the same. However, you guys can at least see the teams, unlike November, which I kind of just did a consolidated version of things. So coming in number 7, again, everything's pretty much the same, is LR Murzumasu. All right, so much like Vegito, right, as a standalone unit, they're top tier. When you combine the rest of the team, like this team here, again, super good, incredible, but the flexibility, just because it has an extreme class at 150%, doesn't mean it's all that great, because there's not that many extreme class units that are amazing. So I think this is, again, a top tier team. It's in the top 10, it's in the top 7. I think it's a fantastic team. It can really do a lot of game modes and do it quite well. It is the best extreme team in the game, no doubt about it. It's not even close. And, I think when you compare the two here, right, so a lot of people might go, well, this is a better team because in the end game, you can just play auto mode and you're good to go. But I think there's a lot of other stuff that, again, the flexibility here, I think it's just a little bit better, right? So, and then like certain super battle roads and things of that nature that this can do, where this can't. So again, it's very close. I think it's very close. I could have actually moved this maybe to the 6th spot, but I think these next two teams still a little bit outshine the Limit Breaker Vegito. So coming in then at number 7 is going to be Murzumasu. Coming in at number 6, again, nothing has really changed here, is Gaku, right? So Gaku still has one of the best leader skills in the game, right? Has Pure Saiyans, Hybrid Saiyans, has a category 170. It does have some limitations of Power Wishes and Exploding Rage. As you can see here, I'm running 3 units at 170%, but these are top tier units, right? We finally get to see a team with, in my opinion, one of the best units, if not the best unit in the game for global, and that is the LR Super Saiyan 4 Super Saiyan 4 Spirit Bomb GT unit here with the Kid Goku and the Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Yes, you did mention over here that this honorable mention did have that as well. So that's why I was thinking, okay, maybe I might put them in the top 10, but it didn't have everything else, right? So this team is fantastic here. You can also run Gaku in the main rotation. Even pre-transformation, he's very good, right? And then after transformation, he's fantastic. So I think this is a good spot for them at number 6. It has by far one of the biggest flexibility and bench strength in really any team here. So coming in number 6. So let's go ahead and move on to the number 5 spot. The number 5 spot is Superheroes Battle of Wits with LROP, LR Piccolo here. LR Piccolo does get an extra character that you can run in Android 21. Unfortunately, she is only running at 170%. I don't have the down arrow there. I gotta put the down arrow there for her. There you go. So you do have an option to run her, or of course you could just run, you know, Gamma 1 or another support unit, or really anyone else kind of down below. It does have some nice bench strength, some nice options that you can actually run on here. So I think, you know, without a doubt, LROP is one of the top tier units in the game. You know, top 3 for sure, but you know, I think the team is missing a few of the other top tier units that can make them a little bit higher than the number 5 spot. But having 2 LROPs, yeah, it's pretty strong. So you can run a triple support. This is a team that I've been running recently, and it's fun. So it's a triple support team with LR Vegito Blue, right? And even though you have 3 units at 170, it still works out quite fine because of the defensive boosts that you get here. So anyway, so coming in number 5 is LROP. Of course, don't forget it is merged with the Gohan, so the superheroes team. I think these are both just superhero teams on here. Yeah, you do have a few Battle of Wits, but then the superhero team here is with Hybrid Saiyans, and then Bond, Parent, Child, and movie heroes. But ultimately, I didn't merge them together. So you might go, where's Gohan? Is he a top leader? He is. He's just merged with the LROP. Which, again, in order for you to run this team here, you're gonna have to have LROP. If you have LROP, you might as well run this team. That's kind of how I figure when I kind of generally merge some teams together. So coming in at number 4, I think, you know, no doubt about this one. I think this could even be argued at number 3 here, and that is Earthbred Fighter's powerful comeback with the World Tournament 21 or 21st World Tournament Goku. Very, very strong team. You have LROP, you have Gohan, you have Spirit Bomb GT, you have Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and of course, first and foremost, you do have the ability to run Bulma. We know how strong Bulma's passive is and how valuable she is on a team. And even though I have her as a floater, you know, once she, you know, connects her her passive and boosts the rest of the team up, it is extremely strong, and you know, uplifts this team tremendously. So you can run a version like this. You can run Bulma in the main rotation. I think a lot of people do run Bulma in the main rotation here, or of course you can actually even run this kind of separately and run the World Tournament Goku in main rotation, but then you run the Piccolo and Piccolo Jr. in the main rotation. So a very flexible team. Great bench strength, and it seems like it's going to continue to be growing when it comes to their bench strength here, because this is just a great leader, and then also just a great overall team. That's why they're the top 5 and number 4 spot in the 21st World Tournament Goku here. So coming number 3, I was actually almost going to drop this down 1 spot and actually have World Tournament Goku as the number 3 spot. Almost did it. Right, so I didn't do it because I still think the flexibility of the 150% superclass just edges it out. However, I think the biggest issue with this team is you're running so many of the top tier units at 170%. That's one of the reasons why I was like, oh man, I don't know. It seems like this is going to be, even though you are running a few at 170% here as well, I'm like, oh man, what do I do here? But again, you can run Bulma on this team. You can run LROP. You can run the future Gohan. So this, I believe, is the only team that you can run all 4, really all 5 of these top tier units on one team here. So given that you can do that with the bench strength and flexibility, even though it's at a lower boost there at 170 or even at 150 with Bulma, I just kept it at the top 3. The bench strength and flexibility is the best in the game. This right here. So I did have to give him points for that. So there's where you have the LR Vegeta Blue as staying in the number 3 spot. I came very close. I moved it, and then I moved it back, and then I moved it back. And I was like, okay, what really has changed? Really, nothing really changed for either one of them. But I just been playing this team a lot more and going, man, this is a really, really good team, right? So coming number 3 is the LR Vegeta Blue as the number 3 spot here, which of course leaves the last two in the same 2 spots here. We have the Future Gohan as the number 2 spot here. The only reason why it's not a standalone number 1 spot or even a standalone number 2 spot is the bench strength sucks. As you can see down there, there's a few options you can run, but overall not top tier, right? You can easily take out the STR Mai and put the Int Mai on here and things of that nature. So there's those options, but you know, ultimately I think here you can run, you know, the Zamasu Gowasu right here. This is actually a very fun version of this. I did have to merge it with Bonum, Parent, and Child, right? So merging it with this here gave it the bench strength and everything to make this a the second. So these two teams are together because I feel like they're both just Future Saga, and this right here you can run a few Bonum, Parent, and Child. Like an LR Spirit Bomb GT, right? But mostly everything else is going to be Future Saga. So that's why I merged these together. Maybe it's cheating a little bit, but I still just have these as the number 2 spot here. You know, given that this is such an incredible, powerful team, when you do have the 2 worldwide celebration Future Gohan, but then of course you can run one on this one, but you can run other units as well. So this is a little bit more flexibility. This is stronger standalone, so that's why I merged them together as a Future Saga as the number 2 spot. Let's go ahead and move on to the number 1 spot, and it's still Power of Wishes. Power of Wishes, Battle of Fate with the Spirit Bomb GT unit here. I think there's so much flexibility. There's so much power. There's so much of everything. Yes, turn 1, there's a situation where you're gonna have, you know, find yourself in problematic. But after you get through turn 1, you are done. You're God. So LROP, you can run it. You have Bulma on this team at 170. You have LR Super Saiyan 4 you can run on here. You can run World Tournament Goku, or you can run the Kai Goku on here. Yeah, the combinations are just so vast and so powerful. You can also, if you wanted to, run this version with the new Super Saiyans, the Carnival Super Saiyans, right? So this team here, if you haven't ran this team, yes, you're running 3 units as 170%, but you could move like the Kai Goku here, and you can run this as 200%. So again, you know, a lot of options. But the reason why I have these 3 particular units down here below is because they're either movie heroes or Super Saiyans. That's the reason why I have these 3 down here below, because then really at any spot you're gonna also have this getting the buff that he needs, right? So you need to have another Super Saiyan or a movie heroes on the same spot, or you can just, you know, just pop in either Piccolo or Trunks in that spot as well. But I kind of want the Spirit Bomb GT units to be on the main rotation, right? So that's why I have, instead of this, I have it like this. So this is without a support unit, right? So this one is with a support unit and can run just fine either way. So and then also, right, you can run an extreme class as main rotations as well. That's how flexible this team actually is. So yeah, super powerful. Let me actually do this here. Super powerful here, I think. And then of course this is merged with the Spirit Bomb Z unit, so they are linked together with basically both Power Wishes. I think this leader skill might be a little bit better because it's Power Wishes and Final Trump card versus Power Wishes and Battle of Fate. But the Final Trump card boosting versus Connected Hope boosting, then the leader skill actually goes to the GT, right? So that's why I have as the number 1 best team on global. It kind of stayed here in my opinion, from the 8-year anniversary. It almost lost the spot to Future Saga when the Worldwide Celebration came out, but I just think overall this team is just better, just super powerful, super strong here. And let's go ahead and dive into the summary. As you can see, not much did change from November, right? You just had the Carnival Super Saiyan team in the number 10 spot, but you do have just a ton of honorable mentions, like I mentioned, like I showed before. Hopefully this is a little bit more entertaining than it would have been in that abbreviated version that I did. Let me know in the comment section, but I know some of you guys totally disagree with me. I know some of you guys agree with me. And, you know, how would you rank your year-end 2023 best teams on Global? Love to see your guys' rankings in the comment section below. And so with that, if you are new to my channel, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Thank you all for watching. Have a happy and wonderful and safe new year. Keep on Dokkaning. We'll catch you next time. Later.